Tradition 7 for groups. Hello, I am an addict named Bill. Welcome back to our NA Tradition Study for Groups. Our 7th tradition states, every NA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. Protecting the integrity of the group is vital to maintaining the well-being of NA as a whole. As the group booklet points out, NA groups are the foundation of the NA service structure. Tradition 7 offers 2 instructions to the group, one conditional and one definite. The first, each group ought to be self-supporting, is conditional. Groups are not always completely self-supporting, but if a group is not, any help it gets comes from within NA. For example, sometimes an NA community helps a group get started or continue to serve a clear need. The rest of the tradition, quote, declining outside contributions is absolute. We can never afford the cost of outside help, even when we cannot see how to manage on our own. The humility this tradition asks for will help us keep our primary purpose in view with every decision we make. We may all agree on the principle of self-support and still have very different understandings of what that actually means for our group. Each group is autonomous, and group practices vary widely. Groups do not tell each other whether or not to have refreshments, celebrations, or medallions. Each group has choices about how to participate in the fund flow and how involved to be in the life of NA beyond its own doors. Still, we want to make informed decisions about our participation, keeping our primary purpose in mind. The links between traditions 5, 6, and 7 are powerful. Each group determines its own values and circumstances, as well as its relationship to NA as a whole. Each time we make a decision about how to use our resources, we can put our priorities in order by asking, how does this further our primary purpose? Groups don't just hold meetings. Some groups celebrate their anniversaries, sponsor marathon meetings or speaker jams, or hold picnics or holiday parties. Some groups also further the NA message by providing literature, offering support to existing events hosted by local service bodies, and participating in the fund flow by contributing to other levels of service. Groups benefit from thoughtful discussion about how an event or celebration supports NA unity and our primary purpose. Keeping in mind that NA funds and the time and energy of our trusted servants are limited resources, groups are responsible to think carefully about how these resources are used. Our 11th service concept reminds us that NA funds are to be used to further our primary purpose and must be managed responsibly. Our commitment to self-support is an act of faith. That faith sustains us even when we fall on hard times, or when something unfortunate happens. Money is stolen, we lose meeting space, or prices go up. We count on an event as a fundraiser and it flops. Where Tradition 7 calls on us to find ways to support ourselves, Tradition 2 reminds us we can take the long view. Hardship can bring us together in unity, and prosperity can separate us if we are not careful. When we are willing to learn from our experience, a setback may be a call to action, not a link in an unbreakable chain. When we remember that there is but one ultimate authority, we can let go of the need to control or blame, and remember that service is always a spiritual exercise. We trust each other, our higher power, and the conscience of our group. No matter what happens, we want every addict to feel safe in NA. We trust our trusted servants, and we honor that trust by providing them with the tools and safeguards they need to be successful, including mentoring and support, service manuals, and local guidelines. We protect our trusted servants when we prevent large sums of money from being the responsibility of any one person. Participating in the fund flow, rather than hoarding or holding large sums in the group treasury, allows us to participate in the life of the fellowship. This practice also reduces the risk or temptation that can come with large sums on hand. The Treasurer's Handbook can help the group keep good records and avoid unnecessary confusion. Paying for meeting space is one way we demonstrate self-support. When facilities will not accept money, we find other ways to give back. We may ask the facility what we can do to carry our weight. We may help with cleaning or maintenance or donate literature. However we give back, it's important that we do so consistently and with a grateful heart. Every interaction with the facility is public relations. We set the tone for how we are seen in our community. In one town, the first NA meetings were known for loudness and bad behavior. It soon became difficult for new groups to find anywhere to meet. Taking responsibility for our group's relationship with the community around it is both an expression of self-support for our own group and a reflection on NA as a whole. When a group is able to meet its own needs, contribute to the services beyond its doors, and plan responsibly, it shows in the atmosphere of the meeting. Good financial practices generate goodwill even when need is great. When our actions are honest, open, transparent, and simple, They are trustworthy. Our commitment to self-support ensures that our groups walk our talk and stand or fall on the power of the NA message honest, simple, and true. These are the Tradition 6 group inventory questions. These questions offer ways to begin or continue your group inventory or discussion focused on this tradition. The comments below or study together with your group and write them on paper. Once again, I would suggest strongly purchasing a copy of our guiding principles to make this process easier. You can also choose questions from the list below or create or adapt your own in order to focus on as part of your group discussion or group inventory. 1. What are some ways to practice self-support besides money? How else do members contribute to this group? What does our group contribute to our local services? 2. Has our group ever needed to decline contributions from non-members? How did or would we go about doing so in a polite and respectful manner? 3. How does this group make decisions about how to spend our money? What do we need to fulfill our primary purpose? How do we tell the difference between wants and needs? Are we spending responsibly? 4. Does our group make contributions to other levels of service in order to help carry the message? What responsibility do we have for supporting the growth of NA in our community and beyond? 5. Are there things our group spends money on that aren't directly related to our primary purpose? Do we make a distinction between funds collected to carry out our primary purpose and other group expenses? 6. Does our group keep financial records? Have we noticed changes in our financial life recently, over time? What decisions or discussions does this information prompt for us? 7. Does our group live within its means? How does our group make do when resources are scarce? Is it okay to pass the basket a second time? 8. What planning and resources were needed to get this group started? Where should help come from when starting a new meeting? 9. Does this group need a reserve of funds? Why or why not? What would be a reasonable, prudent reserve? What other financial safeguards can we put in place to protect both our resources and our trusted servants? 10. Do we think we are entitled to a greater say in service decisions if we contribute more time, energy, or money? Do we allow any members of our group to give more than their fair share? What is a fair share? 11. Does our group depend on the contributions or literature purchases of newcomers to meet its budget? How can group members help to ensure that the weight of self-support doesn't fall on the newest members? 12. How does this tradition help us understand anonymity? How does anonymity help us understand this tradition? How do we practice anonymity in terms of this tradition? 13. Discuss any bridges between this tradition and other traditions. What do these bridges teach us about our group? 14. What more can we do to bring the principles of this tradition into our group efforts? What could we do differently to better fulfill our primary purpose? Now, I am going to try to provide a very brief rundown of what I took away from this and summarize some of the key points from Tradition 7 with respect to groups. I feel pretty passionate about groups because it was in fact in the group that I found a new way to live in freedom from active addiction and lost my desire to use. So therefore, if it wasn't for that group existing, I would still be trapped in the madness or very likely dead. So it is no secret that I am kind of a group guru, and my passion lies in helping groups learn the traditions. It's paramount to the group's perpetual existence. Also, the fact that this tradition is an important and special emphasis because it's very important to the group's survival, but it's often misunderstood. So some key takeaways. Tradition 7 emphasizes that every Narcotics Anonymous group should be self-supporting, declining outside contributions to protect the integrity of the fellowship. Each group operates autonomously, allowing varied practices regarding events, spending, and participation in NA service. Groups must thoughtfully consider resource use and strive to uphold their primary purpose. Financial management, including maintaining records and a prudent reserve, is crucial. Additionally, groups should ensure self-support doesn't burden newcomers, promoting a culture of shared responsibility. That being said, we do, however, accept contributions from newcomers and try to demonstrate to them where the dollar in the basket goes. Transparency is something that is important. It's up to the groups to openly discuss financial matters. One misconception I recently heard while discussing this tradition with another member is that a group must provide rent. However, it was made crystal clear in the guiding principles that we can provide that rent by other means, such as service literature and so on. Groups can get pretty creative, and the group can still maintain autonomy. The tradition fosters unity and humility while reinforcing the need for accountability in financial practices. Open discussions and inventory processes can help groups align their actions with NA's core values and principles, contributing to the overall well-being of the community. Money matters, so please contribute to your group if you are a member.